Hello everybody, I'm Andrea Piovesana and now I want to present you Odoo 3D with the Google Model Viewer. I'm the founder of OpenIndustry.it, is a software house with Odoo projects and also we start working with the OCA to develop with Takobi Online some widgets that I want to present you now. The project started with the Italian Odoo, Italy Odoo organization, and we did a sprint last year in Polo Tecnologico di Pordenone, where the group, the PNLUG, that is a Linux user group of this town, we work a lot to develop Odoo, and for me and a group with me, we worked to develop a 3D visualizer. And Lorenzo Battistini, this is the maintainer of Odoo Italy, is working with me to develop these tools. The tools is made by three add-ons that you have to install. The first one is a widget that you can see the result in the backend view of Odoo of the product. That is the second add-on that you have to install, and I can show you how to do this. So you can install for the backend and also the e-commerce view to visualize instead of the image, visualize the model of the product. In this slide, you can see the link for the version 12. In the next future, we develop for 14. For the 14 version, and this is my company, and Takobi is the company of Lorenzo Battistini that worked with me to develop this. This is a small video to show you how it works. So you can visualize the product, rotate, zoom. There is also in the middle a button to make it full screen, and also this is the view for the e-commerce, where you can make the same things. So the product, if you upload the GLB model, you can view this instead of the image. So is another. The next step, you can also see in the mobile view. This is maybe the most interesting thing, that you have a good view also in the mobile. Let's talk about how to do a model to use this visualizer that is based on the GLTF. This is a model, a 3D model that Kronos say that is the new standard for the 3D, as the MP3 was the standard for is the standard for the audio. Also the video in images as a standard like a JPEG or H264. So in this format, they want to make very easy to translate from the information stored in the model to the graphical interface. Because when you see a 3D model, you want that is fast and run everywhere, in a cellular phone, in a smartphone, but also in any device like a tablet or a PC or a Macintosh or a Linux, every tools. GLTF has a big ecosystem because there are a lot of partnership with many players in this area. You see also IKEA, if you talk about furniture. There is many Shopify for e-commerce. I wish also Shopee Buyers next steps. And there are 3D Max, Blender, SolidWorks, Maya. There is a SketchUp, so Adobe, Facebook, Microsoft WordPress. So many players. This is about the format. There are many information to understand how it works, but after this slides, I want to show you with the websites how to see the information about all this data. The story, I want to talk about the story because in 1996 I was in San Francisco for a VRL class with Mark Pesci, and that was at the beginning, was many years ago. The technology was not enough enabled. So some years ago, started with WebGL. These Chronos tools. All of these tools are open source, and you can find it in GitHub. And in 2011, you find WebGL 1.0. Now in 2017, there is version 2.0. That is the version that we use now. Starting with the browsers like Firefox 51 and Chrome 56. We also studied a lot of 3GS. In fact, the model that we use, the model viewer, is a Google wrapper that contain and use 3GS that we use as example for the 3D warehouse that we presented some years ago. And this year we presented the Odoo experience with Loris Tessino. This is a group of PNLUG. We presented for multi-warehouse. This 3GS is open source and you find it in GitHub. I left you the links. This is the page of Google Model Viewer, and after I can show you in practice. And this is important because to develop augmented reality, we need a strong development, and because there are a lot of devices we have to maintain, and so we decided to use Model Viewer that enable with the current browser version, like for Chrome from version 81, now is 85, and also with Firefox starting with 76, but now this is version 80. So also Safari. And there is a Model Viewer editor that lets you modify and interact with the model. So this is very nice because Google did an editor that you can interact with the model. So is a dynamic structure made by a JSON file that defines the tree of all the elements that compose the file, the product or something that you want to represent. And you can interact and change the property. After I want to show you this capability. The next steps that I want to develop, and I wish in this occasion to ask you to take part of our project. We want to develop the AR-enabled So here enable augmented reality in Android and also in iOS. So to make this functionality for everyone. Okay, this is my link and the Lorenzo. We, we have two different companies, but we together we are working in OCA. We did some projects. At the end of the month, there will be OCA for Italy, and after I will talk about this. So now I want to show you some application. Was an application that I did and we presented, starting with the Loris Ticino. We did this. Starting, this is a view of a warehouse where you have the location. This is the view. You can interact. You can with double click see the barcode of the location and the products that contains. We started to do a version of the 3D viewer starting from this point from 3GS, but we find that Google did the same and with a lot of work to make this. So we developed, and you can find in the Odoo community shop three apps. The widget that is the app to enable this, and the second to use this. So they are some example that you can use. So the product model viewer in the backend and the e-commerce product model viewer to see the 3D model for the e-commerce. These are the model. You can find some information that we take from Kronos and with the link. So in this big image, you see that that there are a lot of information about the 3D. And this is an example that we will see better in the example that I will show. These are the other models. In this session, I started the Rambot. So if you go in one of the models, you can start a Rambot. This is the Rambot. This is the product where we added this tab where this is a file of 5-6 megs, and now you see in with full screen this way you can zoom. The render is very fast, and the details and are good. So if you want to see the same, you can see the same also in the e-commerce with this view where you can instead of the image see the product. Automatically there is a rotation and suggest you, this is the widget that suggests you to move to touch, so you can also in the e-commerce rotate, zoom, and make it full screen. So to talk about all of this system, this is the Kronos website. It is very interesting where you can find some object like this or some other information. You can see that the slide that I did is a screen copy of this website. There is a lot of information. This is instead the model viewer editor. So first page, say this is the home page of the model viewer. This is the astronaut mascot to look at. There's a lot of information about the tags and how to do many interaction with the models. So, and the compatibility issue with all the browsers. Let's say that now the browsers you see are all most of all okay, and especially if you use Google, that is the maker of this solution. So the editor that, is this. I want to show you some interesting functionality because you can do, as example, I want to take a model. You can drag a GLB model. This is a Barcelona chair is a 3 max. You can rotate, but it's very interesting that you can interact and modify. You can, as example, this you modify the leader and the structure, the metal structure. So if you want to modify the leader, you can change, as example, the color. So you can change the color in any way, as you can see. The texture, you can change also the texture if you want. But let's say that there are a lot of interesting features. Also for the metal, you have to change. It's like we are selecting the JSON file that has a structure in this model of two parts. Now I interact with the silver and I can change it in blue as example. So this can make a configurator link for the product. This can be the next step. Very interesting that you can take a product and configure using some labels that you want to make it a paragraph for the customer, for the client. So this is very nice. If you go in the 3JS website, otherwise there are a lot of examples of 3JS development, and one of these is the Google Model Viewer, is this icon. But there are a lot of images. It's about cars configurators, but there is plenty of many possibilities. I think that 3JS is a very nice, and Loris Casino was the starting project. It was the base idea. So with Loris Casino, we developed this that is a 3JS model for the warehouse. I would like to make it part of the warehouse management system, but in the future we can talk about this. I think that is interesting. As example, I can show that you can, using a transfer, you can locate, so see where are the products in the warehouse. Anyway, I presented the 3D view for warehouse and also for the products. I think that for all of the e-commerce players is very important to understand that next step will be the 3D. Maybe the images is okay, but if you can interact and if you go, as example, in the robot, you can understand. If you interact, is much better to buy. So if you want to buy something and you can understand better how it is, instead of switch from one image to another or a lot of images, I think this is the way that you have to go. And in OCA is free, is open source, and is waiting for you to help us to develop much more functionalities. Okay, for me, this is my presentation, and I can talk about the model because the first question is how can I produce, how can I make this format? This well, there are lots of tools. One of these is Blender that enable you to import and export to GLTF or GLB. GLB is the binary format of GLTF, and in this case we use GLB because it's one file and is smaller. So with this, I can show you an example. If you make a new product, example, you want to create like a Barcelona chair. And this chair, I want to upload a model, the Barcelona GLB file, and now it is loaded. It's like it's the same way that you upload an image. You can upload the 3D file, so you can save it, and I take this. This is 10 time, of course. Connection lost. I don't know why. Let's do it again. So create, save, edit. Maybe this is save. Maybe it is before I did this stable product internal code. Very strange. Anyway, you are enabled to visualize in 3D the model. Okay. Next capability, I think, should be to interact and modify using the configurable attributes. The configurator attributes to modify its different part of the model. Okay. So, do you listen to me?
Yes, all good. All good, Andrea. And so if you are done, does anyone have any question? Please write it on the chat. And otherwise, you can join the Discord channel track 1 if you want to post any question. But thank you very much, Andrea, for your presentation. It
Okay.
was great having you again on the OCA days.
Yeah, thank you to you, and I wish the treaty will be a good start point for us to develop much more. And I wish many other people can be interested in this project.
Yeah, I think that the use of variants and the configuration would be really awesome, right? To have these configuration capabilities,
Yes,
right?
we want to work in this way in next steps.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And all this that you are seeing now is from this year. Version 1 of Google Model Viewer started in this year, and they start to work in 2 years ago. But the version 1 was released this summer, and now they are developing every day. There is in Google, if you go in GitHub, Google Model Viewer, you can see the slides. There are all the links that you need. You can see all the new features that you can find about this project. And we did a simple link to this widget, so uh, we wish to maintain all the new functionality that Google will release. Okay,
Good. Okay, thanks. Thanks
thanks
a
to you.
lot.
Bye. Bye
Okay.
from Italy, from Polo Tecnologico, and bye from PNLUG, Linux User Group. Ciao.
Ciao. Ciao.